Hello everybody and welcome to the another episode of data manipulation in R and RStudio. In this video, I will show you guys how to bring the data, which data is already in your computer, and then work with that data or try to some kind of manipulation stuff using that data. So after our last discussion, I then defined this one as a data manipulation part 2. And in this part, you will show and bring some data file. All of them is into your hard disk. So data file can be in your hard disk from various formats, say CSV file or text file. So let's see some of the file how to bring them. Before then, once after we open the R, let's erase the previous stuff which is already into the screen from that one and from this one using the brush button. Say one of the data file in my hard disk is called the name of the file is demographic data. So if you can see into the screen, this is the directory where I put the file. So in this directory, this one is the file which is a CSV file, and the name of the file is demographic data. And you can see the type of the file. Once if you see the Explorer, say it is saying that Microsoft Excel comma separated value file. So that is the file. To bring the file, because it is a CSV file, you have to write down a command called read.csv. So in here there is a variable. In that variable we bring the demographic data file and we define the location of that file. And from C till say here, let me bring say until here. Now once after then we have to remember that there is a header of that file, and each value and each element is separated to each other using a comma, and a string is nothing, since as you can see this file, I mean data file, and the R scripting file is in the same directory. We don't need to define the location. So we can remove this from C part to this part, I mean the location part. So let's bring the file when it is having the location in there. So my cursor is in front of the stars, I mean the variable, and then I hit Control Enter. So the data file is into the global environment, which is called stats, and this kind 195 observation with 5 variable. Same thing we can do without defining the path, because C file and the CSV file, I mean R file and the CSV file is in the same location. So this is a very good practice. Whenever you run a R scripting file and you want to put your own data file into the same directory or same location of the hard disk, then you don't need to write down a location of the file. So before, as you can see from the console screen in here down there, before it was a location been defined, and then we ran the code and we get our data file into our global environment. But at this moment, as you can see, there is no location of that file, and then I want to run that file. So I run the code, Control Enter, same thing happen. So that means without any defining path, you can bring the file if both of the scripting file and the data file is in the same location. Into the same location, I put another CSV file called response1.csv. So let's see that file, response1.csv. This is the file. This one is also a comma separated value file, and then by default we can bring that file. There is a header of that file, header is equal to true. So in this case also I am not defining the path of the file, and I write down that read.csv, name of the file, and header equal to true. So once if I run this code, the data file is into the variable called resp1, and then 32 observation and 2 variables. As we have seen before, if we double click into the global environment into the name of the data file, we will see the inside data into our coding screen in here. On the other hand, once if you click the small button in there, then you will see which variables, how many variables you have, and then what is the data type, which I already mentioned before anyway. So another function is called the head of the data file. So once if you write down the head, and then inside the head if you write down say name of the variable, you will see first 6 element of the data file, and the output will be shown into the console screen. Okay, since there are 2 variables on there, and then we can see the 6 observation from there. Structure str and then inside name of the data variable will give you a structure of the data file, which means that how many variables in there, what is the data type, and then some sample of the observations. We can see that once there is a data file, if you have into your hard disk and the type is a text file, there is a file I have called response2.txt. Let's see the file. This is the data file response2.txt, as you can see into the screen, and then it is a text document, it is a text file. If you double click that file, you can see that file into open into the notepad to name of 2 columns and then observation inside there. Let's close that one. To bring the text file, what you have to do is delimiter. This is how you can read the text file. So in this case, I bring the file, text file, and there is a header up there. So I have to write down header is equal to t, and then once if I run the code, the data is into that variable resp2, and then it is already into the global environment. This is how you can bring the text file from your hard disk into the R environment. Similarly, if you say run the head command, you will see first 6 column, first 6 rows from the data file. I have a data file into the hard disk. If you observe this action properly, you will learn a lot of things. So the name of the data file is wine quality red.csv. So let's go to the file. This is the file, as you can see in there. It is a comma separated value file, right? So let's open the file. It is open into the Excel environment, but you can see since this is a CSV file and it is separated in by semicolon, as you can see in here. It is not actually divided by, separated by comma, although we call it a CSV. Now, if I run this code like before, read.csv, name of the file, header equal to true, let's see what happens. So we run the code, we can see that the file is into one variable and there is only one variable. So if you see the data file, nothing is meaningful for us because the system was unable to read the file properly because the separated string is something else. So say we have seen that before, the separated value is semicolon, not the colon. So once if you write down the separated string is comma, then if you run the code, nothing will happen. It's still the same, one, still one variable. But if you write down that header equal to true and then separated string is semicolon, let's see what will happen. Run this line and we can see winner is 1599 observation with 12 variable. Now the system bring the file properly because you define the separated string properly or perfectly. So in some cases you have to understand what is the format of your data file you want to bring into R. So before bring any data file, the good practice is you have to double click the data file and see how data file is uh, organized. So if it is an Excel file, what is the separated value. If it is a comma separated file, then how it separate, each data value is separate with another one. This is how you can bring your data file properly into our environment. Okay. Say the last example I want to show today is to bring a Excel file, because we was trying to bring the CSV file, then the text file, and the CSV file with different separate string. To bring or read the Excel file, you have to you have to write down something called library read Excel. This is the library to read the Excel file. So I have a Excel file called demo data.xls. So let's see the file. This is the file demo data. This is the Excel file into my hard disk. To bring that file, you have to run this line first. So I ran that line, library read Excel, and then to bring the data file, say I have to declare a variable called demo data, and then read underscore xlx. So this is the function you have to remember, and then write down the name of the file, and then you have to write down the sheet number. So let's go there and see this one was our Excel file, how the file is organized. So as you can see into the screen, Excel file, the sheet number is sheet 1, which is Excel file, and there can be so many other sheet. So we want to bring the sheet 1. So to read that sheet, you have to write down proper sheet number. So if you run this line, you will see the demo data is in there, and then 195 observation with 5 variables. On the other hand, you can do something else, right? Like, since the sheet number was 1, you can also write down like read Excel. In this case, you have to write down read EXL, and then you can write down the Excel, I mean the sheet number. It was a first sheet, so you can write down the sheet number is 1. So if you run the code, it will give you the same output. This is how you can bring the Excel file into our global environment. Another way to bring the data file is you can choose the file by yourself. Say I define a variable called my data, and then I want to read any file in an Excel format file, and file.choose. So if you at this moment, if you run this line, what will happen is, as you can see, it will open Explorer file chooser part for you. So from there you can choose any file. So I want to choose, say, this file, because I want to read that one as an Excel file. So if I choose this file, the file is in my data at this moment. This is how you can bring or choose the file and bring it into the R environment. So if you want to see the head of my data, not the demo data, say my underscore data, and then run this one, you will see the head of that data file. Similarly, I mean, if you want to use the summary command, so summary, say my data, my underscore data, then it will give you the summary of the data file. Summary mean uh, each variables, you know the minimum value, maximum value, first quartile, median, mean value, and third quartile for any statistical analysis purpose. So this there was a last one example is there is a file called movie rating.csv. It is easy to bring that file because it was a CSV file. So read.csv, and that the file name, it will bring the file into movie variable, and say into the movie variable in here, which is 562 observation with 6 variables. And if you want to see the head of that file, it will bring the head down there into the console screen. So this is how you can bring any Excel file, CSV file, or text file from any hard disk, any location into your working environment and work on it. This was until this one was the discussion regarding to data manipulation today. Thanks for watching this video, and those who didn't subscribe this channel, please do so, and we will come to you guys with more and more new video regarding to data and any data science subjects or topics. Until then, enjoy this video and